It's the Clarence-Rockland Guide. I'm Derek Scott from Clarence-Rockland's Hot Country 92.5. We're joined by Carl Brunet from the Walker Real Estate Group. Welcome to the Clarence-Rockland Guide.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, I imagine, like many in real estate, you didn't grow up thinking, I want to be a real estate agent.
Correct. That was not even close.
Growing up in Clarence-Rockland, what did you want to be when you were younger?
To be honest, my dream was always to be in the airline industry. I wanted to be a pilot, really, growing up. That was like, if I would do anything, I wanted to be a pilot. And it's funny enough, I got close to it because right after college, I wanted to travel the world. And I applied with Air Canada, and I got a job as a flight attendant. So for a little while, I flew with Air Canada, and I traveled the world, and then came back to my senses. And so the background story is my family owned retirement homes in and outside the city. So right here, my grandfather had opened one in Rockland, but then opened some in Gatineau. My dad had one in Ottawa, and two of my uncles also did. So that was the background story. It was for me to be the third generation to go into retirement homes. And then some laws changed a few years ago where if you sell to your own son, there's some capital tax exemptions that you're no longer able to get and stuff like that. So it no longer made sense. And plus the industry was changing. There was big corporations coming in, opening some huge centers. So my dad one day is like, hey, like, you like real estate? Why don't you like try it? And I had been working in the government for 10 years at that point, knowing that it wasn't my life goal. I wanted to be outside, and I want to make, like, ultimately, I'm the type of guy that likes to help people. I want to make a difference. I want to do little things that will help somebody have a better day or better life. And then I kind of take that when I go into real estate. I put myself in people's shoes, and then I say, okay, I have to make this like the best experience that they'll ever have, and make sure it's a positive experience. And you're not buying a pair of jeans here. You're buying or selling a home, your biggest asset, right? So I put myself in their shoes, and I make sure that everything is running smoothly. That's the goal, really, for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it from wanting to be a pilot to being a real estate agent in Rockland.
But really, from the beginning, when you think about it, through the various jobs and professions you've had, even your dreams, they all do really revolve around helping people out, from being a flight attendant to your family's background in retirement homes.
Yeah.
It's always been about connecting with people. So you grew up with that, and obviously you're doing it now.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, for me, that's the goal. And being a real estate agent is actually being a connector. Like you need help with anything. We know, like you get to know a lot of people in your industry, and in it's out, like construction, paint, stuff like that. So you go into a home, I really want to repaint this room before putting it on the market. I got somebody for you. Like, I'll help you out. So we are really connectors, and at the end of the day, we're there to help to make the sale go as smoothly as possible. And you want the house to showcase the best in that class. So you have like a three bedroom bungalow. You want to be the best 3-bedroom bungalow so that you'll outperform the other people, your competition on the market, right? That's the goal, really.
Would you say part of your advantage is that you grew up in the area, so you have pride and you have knowledge of where a potential home buyer could be relocating to?
Yeah, definitely. And we do have a lot of people relocating from either just outside, like just Ottawa, or even further. We have, like, being close to Ottawa, we have a lot of people that are working for our CMP and the government even, and they relocate. And Rockland's a great little town to relocate to because you're right there and you have everything that you really need in Rockland. So yeah, for sure, it's a big part of it to help out for that.
Your interest in becoming a pilot in aviation, does that continue now as a potential hobby? Is it still in your heart? Do you build model airplanes? Is the question I want to ask.
That's a good question. No, but maybe I should. No, but I love to travel, so that's one of my big hobbies is to travel. We travel a lot, and my dad spends his winters in Arizona, so we go visit him once or twice a year, and I mean, maybe that's what it is for me to go explore more cultures in the world, and we love traveling, so maybe that's the connection to being a pilot.
And obviously, travel, you're still meeting new people.
Yeah. Yeah, and the real estate world is a world of word of mouth and connecting with people. So there's always everywhere we go, we'll talk real estate, and there's a real estate agent in the crowd, and you talk, and then you make connections, and you never know if that agent has somebody coming to Canada in Ottawa or surroundings. They'll call you if you made a good impression on them. It's a good way to get a bigger network for sure.
We're speaking with Carl Brunet. This is the Clarence-Rockland Guide. You've mentioned travel, a passion of yours for years. Some of the best places that you've traveled to.
Oh, wow. I've traveled. Some of the best places would be, we did Italy in 2018, a 16-day trip there. That was pretty cool. We did Italy and Greece in one trip, and Portugal. Portugal was probably a top 3 for sure, because it's not too far from here. It's not a very long flight to get there. And once you're there, it's super inexpensive. The food is amazing. The people are great. And just traveling inside of Canada too. We did the East Coast one summer, and the people in Canada are just so welcoming. We got some good stories for that. That's probably for another day or a drink. But no, number one would probably be our honeymoon. We splurged it a little bit. We went to the Maldives, and we had a over the water villa, and that was an experience that we didn't want to come back from. That's for sure. That's number one.
Where would you love to travel to? A destination that you've never been to that's on your travel bucket list?
I'm a big motorhead too, right? I love Formula One, so I want to go to Abu Dhabi one year, maybe go see the final race there. But yeah, ultimately, Australia, I'd like to go see see a kangaroo in real life or a koala and stuff like that, right? Not in their natural habitat. Africa is another one on my list that I'd like to go see for sure. Yeah, I mean, sky's the limit, anywhere.
It's all about experiences, and in your role as a real estate agent, you're also creating future experiences for potential home buyers, right?
Correct. It's home buyers. It's an experience in itself, and you have to make it, as pleasurable as it is, because I always tell my buyers, if it's not this one, we'll find one eventually. And after 2 or 3 or 4, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm wasting your time." You're not wasting my time. This is not about finding a home quickly. It's about finding the right home for you. If it takes 30 homes, we'll take 30 homes. I don't care, because the last thing I want you to do is being in that home and you not liking it. So we're going to find you the right home, and the right home will come eventually. So that's the message that I talk to my buyers all the time. "Oh, I know you have a family and we're taking away from your family. Yeah, but this is my job and I love doing it, right? And my family is understanding of it as well." So that's I'm very grateful for the family I have for that. But my buyers, it is a cool experience to go through. And once they find the home, you see it in their eyes right away. This is it. And let's make it work. Let's make it happen.
What do you find that your average buyers are looking for in a home these days, other than price being the number one?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult right now because for a long time, there was a discrepancy between what the need was and then the price point, because the price point jumped so high so quickly. And then with the interest rates going up, that just wasn't achievable anymore, right? Your salary didn't change, the amount of monies that the interest and home pricing went. So the readjustment of the needs or wants was quite a big hurdle to go over. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing right now. It's just to get align yourself with what you can afford, and then let's go from there and then figure out what we can buy with your affordability.
Obviously, with interest rates and availability, it could be challenging. How challenging was the pandemic for you and your business and your industry?
I mean, it was nonstop. I don't remember blinking for a little while because it was just go, go, go. It went pretty ballistic. So, and people say, "Oh, you guys made a lot of money in that time span." Well, we worked our butts off, right? It was like we have an agent in our office. She probably wrote 300 offers in one summer and probably got, you know, 10 homes out of it, right? Every day she was writing a few offers and it wouldn't stick because there was be another 20 buyers. So as much as people say, "Oh, you guys, you did well," yeah, like the people who worked hard and the people who worked well and stayed above board, they did okay, but we worked our butts off, right? So it was really difficult with buyers because you have to, the speech was, what can you afford? Let's put that and see if it sticks. And it's not a fun conversation to have because you know that it's inflated. That price is inflated, and who knows how long it's going to be. It was a bubble that was ready to burst because, Ottawa was a cheap market compared to other big cities in Canada. But when it did, it was go 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 nonstop.
How do you deal with people who, based on interest rates, based on pricing, will say, Clarence-Rockland, it's too expensive now?
Yeah, well, if you think Clarence-Rockland is expensive, go 10 minutes towards the west, and you'll find that it's $100,000 more, right? So, if you compare to what it was in 2018, 2019, yes, it's expensive, but it's more expensive everywhere than it was back then. With interest rates flattening out a little bit, maybe that's a sign that the buyers will have a little bit more confidence in buying. For now, they're still sitting on. Some of them are sitting on a lot of equity in their homes. If they're not going into the market, but they already have a house, you're sitting on a lot of equity. But you just got to make sure that they want to make sure that they're making the right move.
Must be rewarding for you, especially when it comes to a first-time home buyer or first-time home buyers as a couple,
Mm-hmm.
finding them their dream home that suits their needs, but also their budget.
Yeah.
That must be a big win for you, and also not only professionally, but personally in your heart. You must feel it and go, yes.
100%. And my wife talks about it all the time. She's like, "How do you deal with all these emotions?" Like, we're there to hold their hands. Like, not only first time home buyers, but any buyer or seller. There's a lot of emotions going into real estate, and our job is to stay as emotionless as possible, while inside you're super happy, right? You're like I was saying, you're buying your biggest asset, and you want to grow your family. So you're buying yourself something that your family will be able to live in for a long time. So when the deal is done, like, you feel there's the sentiment of pride, there's a sentiment of accomplishment, but there's so much joy in there because it's all happiness.
Helping out first-time home buyers to helping out those that, for example, need to downsize.
Mm-hmm.
Seniors or those that have recently become empty nesters going, do we really need a 5-bedroom home? We need something smaller.
Exactly.
That must be a challenge, but also rewarding as well.
Yeah, I work a lot with empty nesters that are downsizing, and it's a challenge in itself because they've accumulated so much stuff, right? And just the idea of them of downsizing is like it's very overwhelming. So I always caution them, prepare. You start getting rid of some of the stuff that you're not going to need, and understand that your next step where you're going to be, you won't need as much, but that's okay too, right? You won't have so many people in your home all the time. You can go to your son or your daughter's place to host, right? To have your Christmas parties and stuff like that. That's okay too, right? So it's really cool. It's a cool transition too. I love working with downsizers that way because it's making them realize that, man, we'll be okay with just a 2-bedroom condo, because then we don't have to take care of the roof. We don't have to take care of the windows. We don't have to take care of a lot of this stuff, and we can just enjoy our lives and travel or do whatever we want.
Real estate obviously isn't a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 job, because I'm sure you're showing homes on the weekends, at night. How do you balance work, life?
I mean, at the end of the day, you can. It's a cool industry because you can. The more you work, the more you're going to reap the reward, right? So you gauge as how much you want to take out of it That's how much you have to put into it. But realistically, real estate doesn't really start until 9:30 or 10 in the morning. So the mornings I spend with my daughter, with my newborn son and my wife, and we have fun. But we understand that some nights daddy's going to be doing a showing or going to a listing appointment, and often in the weekends too. But I try to, book my weekends so that it doesn't ruin the whole day, right? I'll go around it and we'll make sure that we still can do our plans. But as much as it's a 24/7, 365 this year, at the same time, there's ways that you can plan ahead and have a good work-life balance for sure.
On those days where you can actually turn it off, or picture a day that you can actually turn it off, what do you do to unwind? You've mentioned travel, but you can't be traveling nonstop. What do you do locally to unwind and maybe recharge, Carl?
It's funny you say that turn off, because when we do travel, it turns out I always have to do real estate, and it's okay. My wife's super understanding of it, and it's fun that I can do it from anywhere in the world. But locally, I'm a golfer. I'm an avid golfer, so I have my membership here at the Rockland Golf Course, and I'll go when I can, and that's my real passion. And this time of year in the spring, it's sap season, and I have maple trees in the back, so I have a bunch of a bunch of trees tapped. So that's what it's tough because it's in the spring market and it's one of the busiest time of the year. So, but I do love going outside and with my daughter to go collect the sap and go boil, make our own maple syrup. It's fun.
Spending time with your family and helping other families, that pretty well sums it up, I would say.
Yeah.
Carl Brunet, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for being a part of the Clarence-Rockland Guide.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.